these webinars, we're going to record them and make them available for to go back and go through. And also, there are other resources on the support page that I suggest that you come here, take a look, and they can be very useful in the process of using club benchmarking. Having said that, if you get stuck, please by all means give us a call. The three areas of the website and the tool are finance and operations, policies and procedures, and comp and benefits. We're really going to focus on, obviously, the comp and benefits today. And when you click on any of the three areas, we have consistent navigation in that you can use the pull-downs to go where you'd like, or you can use the tabs. My Club is always data input. Compare Clubs allows you to compare information on a line-by-line basis. My Reports allows you to run pre-written reports that we provide and set filters. When you are in one of the subsections, the navigation for that section is not only the pull-downs, but also there are hot links, so you can do a couple of things here. You can switch to the Compare Clubs view right from this page so that you can immediately make comparisons. When you are doing data entry in the comp and benefits, for the executive compensation, executive positions and salary positions, the template is the same for all positions. One of the tools that we offer is a save to PDF throughout the site. So you can save this template and have somebody fill out the information that they might have and kind of do a tag team approach to the input, rather than have one person sit down and go through each row one after the other to complete it. If you'd like to return to the overall selection of data entry, you can click My Club, and that gives you the areas that you can do input for. Select a benchmark area or home brings you back to the main screen. As well, on the home pull down, you can go from one of the three sections to the other directly without going back to home. But again, the select a benchmark area brings you to the main screen. I'd like to talk a little bit about each of the four sections in comp and benefits, and then we're going to spend a little bit more time in the salary positions and look at some comparisons and reports. In the club profile, most of the information in club profile is brought over from the finance and operations, but there are a couple of questions that are filled out only in the compensation and benefits side. One set of questions asks about internship programs, and then there are some questions about who owns the shop and if they're contractors or not, the tennis shop that is, and if they are employees or contractors. When you are inputting data in the website, white means that that is the value that is in the database. If you change any of the values, total member count, we'll call it $500. The background turns from white to green. That indicates that it's been changed on the page, but not in the database. If you navigate away from the page before you either click Submit or Submit and Next, then the value will reset to whatever it was before you came to the page. So if you're doing data entry, it's very simple. You can do 1 or 2 answers per page and do Submit and make sure that it's updated. And that way, if you're interrupted, you don't lose any of your information. I think one thing that is a benefit to the site is this is a live database. If you put in one piece of information or every bit of the information, fill in every data point, and click Submit, then it's updated. So you can do the work over a period of time and not have to imagine that you have to sit down and do it start to finish and block out a day. Not a bad way to go if you can do it. but not entirely practical either. So by all means, please come in, do input. If you're interrupted and you actually have to, you called away because imagine that you might be running a club, simply click submit and you have the information saved. We have the other three sections relate to the health insurance. The health insurance asks very straightforward questions about what do you offer, and how much is the premium for an individual and family plan, how much does the club contribute. Obviously, over time, we will be evolving this section of the survey to reflect the changes that are going to be coming over the next couple, 3 years. But this section can be very useful in the process of renewals, and also in discussion with the employees to help them understand how other clubs structure their programs and how your program compares to other clubs. When you are filling out, when you are comparing clubs, we require that you answer a minimum of about 12% of the questions. That's our not so subtle way to encourage you to share your data. I should mention that when you are entering data, the black obviously is the data point that we're looking for, and then we have some descriptive information on each of them that explains it more completely. And by the way, if you are inputting data and you have any question, please just shoot us an email or give us a call. We're happy to talk with you about it. We try to make this as clear as we possibly can, but we're not, we don't always entirely succeed. We'd like to be perfect.
Jim, you remind me that I forgot to mention when we started. Jim actually started in the club industry as he's a former club CFO. So he definitely speaks the language and is there to answer any question you have, and the phone number that you're provided for him is direct to him, so don't hesitate to use it.
And I'm happy to talk to all of you, and many of you I already have. So yeah, by all means, I had the privilege of working at a club that Russ and Ray came to about 4 years ago. We looked at club benchmarking. They walked out. I said to the GM, we need to get this. So I've had the benefit of using it at a club and also doing what I do now, which is assisting you folks in the use of the club, the database, and also in that data entry. One of the other benefits is I've been able to do about just under 300 go-to-meetings with clubs and look at their data and their numbers. So I'm happy to help if anybody has a question. Please don't hesitate. If we go to the main section of the comp and benefits, the positions and salaries are really in two groupings, the hourly positions and then the salary positions. The hourly positions are pretty straightforward. It's a small handful of roles that are common to many clubs. Obviously, we have to balance the number of rules that we make available to input information with the benefit you get from it. So, it's not our intention to create a full-time job, keeping the database up to date, and we do everything we can to make it efficient and effective, including using things such as copy prior year data. But we also want to make sure that we have enough roles so that to meet the needs of the you folks in your comparisons. I'd like to illustrate very briefly the process here of entering information for hourly folks. First, we have a checklist to decide which roles that you'd like to input information for. When you click submit, then that's updated to the database. Click submit and next. It brings you to the input tab. The rules that you have checkmarked will show up in the pull down. I would like to say again that we have the PDF here, and I mentioned it because this is a live database. So when you update your information, it changes whatever is in the database, and we don't have an undo button. So if you come in and you make changes and you wish you hadn't, if you save it before, you can always change it back. So I recommend whenever you come to a page with data already entered in it, save it as a PDF to start. I affectionately call it our manual undo button. When you are inputting, I pick on waitstaff in particular because you'll notice in the blue description we ask that you estimate the hourly rate of tips and give the total of the base wage plus the tips here. Some clubs pay a straight wage, some clubs pay a gratuity, some clubs share the gratuity, and so there's quite a variety. But what we'd like to really reach is the average amount that the waitstaff is paid, that goes in their paycheck, so to speak. So now that we have entered information, we can look at compare clubs. I'll leave the filters for the executive section to look at, but very briefly I'd like to explain that on the page we use percentiles. The line that we use cuts off at the 25th percentile and the 75th percentile. We're trying to save real estate on the page. It shows your company's value in blue on the top and its percentile. To see the entire chart, we have a quick chart icon right here. When you click on it, it gives you the entire, all the data points that have been entered for this role, for this question. We cut off the top 5 and the bottom 5% to maintain confidentiality, but it's in quartiles. So half of the club's information falls between the 25th and 75th percentile, obviously, and then half are below $10 and half are above. You can save these charts one at a time, either PDF or PowerPoint, and you can click through all three on the same page. You just have to save any. If you wanted all three, you would have to save them one at a time. It's a pretty handy tool when somebody has a question and they want a quick answer, and you can come to the tool, run the comparison, print it off and bring it into a meeting, or project it on the screen if you want when you have it in a meeting. When you're looking at the data, it consistently will tell you an average response per metric on the page, so that you have a sense of how many people have answered the questions. I would, I guess, with that, I'd like to go to the salary positions. I'm going to briefly go through this section, and then we will open it up for question and answer. And of course, you can reach us, or you can reach me afterwards at any point.
Jim, before you start that section, can I make one comment, which is just to clarify, when you're putting your data into the database, at no point, once you hit submit, there is no other club that can drill down to a point where they can see your data in your individual user account. The admin on that account, the primary user, or the people registered as administrators for your club benchmarking account, can control who may or may not see salaries with a checkbox, and you can add as many users in the club as you want. So we have clubs who have more than a dozen users. There's no charge for extra, what would be called a seat license in other software. So, but you do have the ability to control who can see the salaries.
Right. And I would mention that salaries are either 100% visible or not visible. So it's not that the salaries are sectioned, or people have access to sections of the comp and benefits, but it's either on or off. So thank you, Terry. When we're in the executive and staff positions. We break the input into three blocks. Head of club is always the default. Excuse me. And this is the template that's used for all of the salary positions. It revolves around questions about demographics, the rate and the bonus, other benefit values, and then questions such as what are the benefits available, what affects the bonus, and then things like certifications and memberships. In the website, once you have entered information, you can use the copy prior year data function. And I should mention that in the comp and benefits, right now we have slices of a group silos of data from 2009 through 2013 by year. And just so you know, our year runs from July 1st to June 30. So if your club's year end is June 30 or before, then it's in the last year end, so to speak. So June 30 this year will be 2013 data. You can switch back and forth among the years just by doing the pull down. We are now in 2013. I click the copy prior year data function. It fills in the whatever data was in 2012. And again, it's in light green, so that indicates that it has not been updated to the database. And as soon as you click submit, then that data can be reported on and you can do comparisons. For all of the other salary positions, we break them down into two groupings, executive and staff. So the executive positions are here at the top. The staff positions are these in the second section. And the input for the executive positions are on this tab, and the input for the salary positions are on the last tab. Once we've selected a position to input information on and clicked submit, it will show up in the pull down. And when it shows up in the pull down, you can go right ahead and start to do the input. The input, again, is very straightforward. If we pick the director of golf, we click submit, we go to the executive positions, and we can now use the director of golf, use the pull down to get to the director of golf, and then start to input the information. It may be that, again, that you can share this whole process of input among people, or it may just be the director of human resources. Depends on the the club, obviously. As soon as you have input at least 12% of the information, you can do comparisons. The process of comparison we'll look at here with the golf course superintendent. If we click on compare clubs, we have a section of filters, and then we have the line-by-line information about that person in the position. A few comments about filters. We highly recommend for the executive positions that you start your comparisons using a revenue range, which is to say the size of club, as I said before. So I had done some pre-work in this club. It's about the revenue is between $4 and $5 million. Generally, setting the ranges, you can either use the slide or you can actually key it in. I like to key it in because I'm obviously not very effective at the slide. But for dollar values, again, you can key in the number or use the slide. And for others, the pull down shows up, and you can make the selection from the pull down. Highly recommend that you limit the number of filters that you choose at a time, because in our database, if something doesn't apply, we ask you not to fill it in. So the more filters that you set, the more likely you're going to exclude clubs, and that can quickly reduce the data set that you're looking at to a small number. By all means, run the comparisons on a number of different filter settings and look at your data in a number of different ways. But again, we highly recommend that you start around revenue. As I mentioned, we use percentiles, showing the 25th percentile, the 75th percentile, and the 50th marked. And then the value for this particular person is in blue on the top with a percentile. And again, we have the charts that you can click through one at a time and save it one at a time if you'd like. Aside from the charts, we also have a reports section. In the reports, the pre-written reports at the bottom produce PowerPoint files. Again, you can use these filters to change the group of clubs that you're comparing against. In order to run a report, simply click on the link. It takes a couple of 3 minutes and produces a PowerPoint file. Once the PowerPoint file is done, you can click on that. This is a complete report for all the roles. So there's only data entered for the superintendent, but we chart the club on operating revenue versus the sample. I guess I misremembered the operating revenue. Pardon me. And then there are some statistics about the club, dues rates and these kind of things, full-time equivalent employees, and then it goes to the comparisons for the individual roles. It charts, again, on percentiles, and it shows the value for this particular position. The value for your club is always that dot that's labeled separately. You can go through them one at a time. It's a PowerPoint file, so if you don't have a CFO, it's simple enough to just delete those slides from the file, and you can have a report that is comprised only of the information that you have filled in. So I think it may be with that I will open the floor to questions, since we're actually come to the half an hour, and I don't want to extend too far into your afternoon. So I open the mic. If anybody has any questions, please feel free.
Okay. As Jim mentioned, if you have any questions, you can speak. Now the microphones are open. Otherwise, you can reach out to him. I'll be sending a follow-up email with some contact information and additional information on comp and benefits. Okay, I think we have no questions. So, Jim.
Thank you all very much. I certainly appreciate your time and look forward to speaking with you again. Please don't hesitate to call. Thank you very much.